comic book villains. You love them, I love them, we all love them. And when it comes to the villains in Marvel and DC, well, the fans, they are split. So we're gonna debate once and for all who's gonna win between Darkseid and Thanos. You ready? Let's get it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Nerd News. I'm your host, Chris Chavis. This show is created for nerds by a nerd in case this is your first time here. And as you can tell, I am rocking the quarantine hair. You know, I've never really actually grown it, so, you know, we're just gonna give it a shot, and man, I look pretty haggard. But whatever. So villains. Okay. Villains have a soft place in my heart. I'm always rooting for the villains in a movie. I'm always a villain in a video game. And there's a game where you can either be good or bad. You know, whatever choices you make, you know, the consequences are echoed throughout the game and the story. I'm always bad. Red Dead Redemption, Fable, you name the game where you can choose to be bad, and I'm bad. Don't know what that says about my personality, but we'll move on. I mean, to be completely honest, villains have the best dialogue, the best costumes, the best entrances. I mean, I would rather play a villain than a hero because it's the opposite of me and it'll be just a fun time. Again, I'm not sure what that says about me. But before we dive into today's evil episode, if this is your first time here, I would greatly appreciate it if you would click that like, the subscribe, and the notification bell so you could be notified of all future episodes as I make them. Just smash that like button. Alright, so like I said, today's topic is about Thanos versus Darkseid. So I'm thinking, you know, the way that we should begin this is to talk about both of them individually, you know? So with that, let's start with Darkseid. And if you're unfamiliar with Darkseid, let me catch you up on who he is so you know just kind of what this guy is all about. So first of all, Darkseid was created in 1971 by the legend himself, Jack Kirby. If you don't know who Jack Kirby is, look him up, Google him, he's done everything. I mean, everything. Darkseid first appeared in Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, in issue 134. Now, Darkseid is this diabolical ruler of a planet called Apokolips, whose ultimate goal is to conquer the universe. I mean, isn't that everyone else's goal? And not just to rule the universe, but to just conquer all sentient beings. So pretty much every single, like, god you can think of in the DC universe, he's like, nah, I'm better than you. Sorry, his voice is probably deeper than that. It's probably like, no, I'm better than you. Now, Darkseid serves as the Justice League's main villain, unless you're Joss Whedon. You know, because Joss Whedon took over for Zack Snyder and pretty much eliminated anything that Zack Snyder did. I don't even want to get into it, it's so bad. But alas, guys, we will see Darkseid in the Justice League in the Snyder Cut that's coming to HBO Max very soon. The fact that Zack Snyder is cutting that movie for free just says that he really wants his vision to be shown, and I don't blame him. So we'll physically see what this character looks like and acts like in the DCU, finally, because he is a very big character, pun intended, he is a very big character. Now, Darkseid is a villain that the DC currently needs. They need something that you can latch onto, because right now, all the characters that they have, you don't have a big emotional hook as you would with some of the Marvel characters, because, you know, they don't do one continuous story, as I've said all the time. So hopefully Darkseid will be that little hook that the DC universe needs. Well, okay, let me rephrase. This is excluding the Dark Knight franchise because, well, Heath is amazing. Alright, so now let's move on to Marvel in that of Thanos. Thanos was created in 1973 by the talented artist Jim Starlin. Thanos is also known as the Mad Titan, and his first appearance was in, I think, issue 55, I want to say. Yes, it was Iron Man in issue 55. Now, Thanos craves power and destruction, and he wants to conquer planet to planet, but he also courts death. In the comics, he actually courts death. She is a physical representation of death, and they have a relationship, and I really wish they did that in the movies because that would have been fantastic. But Thanos has been teased way back in the day in what, 2012 when the first Avengers came out. So way back in 2012 when we had the very first after credit scene, we saw Thanos stand up from his throne, and we lost our minds, essentially. We had no idea he was coming, but we knew he was on his way, and those of us that read the comics thought the same thing. We're like, are they gonna do the Infinity? Are they gonna do the Infinity Gauntlet? Oh my Oh my gosh, I think they are. Now, Marvel has had their hits and misses when it comes to villains. They've had some good slew of villains, for example, Killmonger in Black Panther. But then they have some villains that they really could have done a little bit better. Like, I loved Ultron, but I thought he could be a little bit deeper. But with Thanos coming into the picture, he gave you that humanity side. Like, you actually knew what he was doing. You felt bad for him, but at the same time, you're like, yeah, you killed half the universe. That you gotta pay, man. But Thanos does set the bar really, really high for Marvel. So whoever they have next, maybe Doctor Doom, I believe that they're gonna have. They've set the bar a little too high for themselves. They're gonna have to write a really good storyline and a really good actor to play whoever is going to don the next main villain shoes, I guess you would say. Not Gauntlet, because the Gauntlet's done, so shoes. We'll go with shoes. But now the question remains, okay, who is the most evil out of the two? Who would win in a battle? Let's talk. Now, the interesting thing about these characters, Thanos and Darkseid, a lot of Marvel and DC, if you will, characters thought that they're ripoffs of each other. And in a way, they kind of are, and that's an okay thing because, you know, it's a form of flattery, right? I mean, they do have very similar traits. They kind of look alike, except, you know, grimace. Both have really specific set of skills. Oh god, thank you Liam Neeson for ruining that. So speaking of skills, let's break those down. We're gonna start with Darkseid. So Darkseid has a slew of powers. All right, you ready for this? He's got brute strength. His longevity has made him live thousands of years, so who knows how old he is. I mean, he's probably the only one left from his high school. That's a sad reunion. Hey guys, I'm here. Everyone's dead. He's got super speed, telekinesis, he's telepathic. He also has the Omega Rays. Now the Omega Rays is something very, very cool and visually unbelievable. He shoots laser beams from his eyes, but the crazy thing is he can control them. It's like if I wanted to hit the wall behind my camera, it would come out of my eyes, go around the camera, and into the wall. He can control it. It's pretty cool. So it's pretty much like creating a character when you max out all of their attributes to 99. If you're a gamer, you understand that reference. Okay, now let's go to Thanos. So besides the Infinity Stones, Thanos does have a particular set of skills. Dang it! So Thanos is super strong, like Superman. That was weird. He is telekinetic as well. He also makes a mean latte in the morning. I just had to throw that in there. So they both have really strong traits. They both have a lot of similar traits, but if they went down to a knockout brawl, who would win? I just thought, can you imagine if they joined forces and they took on the universe? Yeah, there's a comic. Yeah. So with this debate, I honestly think that Darkseid would win if these two fought. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not because I'm biased for one franchise or the other. In fact, I like Marvel a little bit more than DC. But it's just about the sheer strength and the numbers and the, you know, there's just a lot going for Darkseid. Let me break this down a little bit more. So think about this. When the Avengers fought Thanos, they eventually do overcome and they win. I mean, granted, like in the movie, it took them, well, technically, because I didn't know Thanos existed, it took them 2 movies with, you know, half the population dying, so, you know, that sucks. But eventually they get the job done. And with Justice League, it's a little different because, yes, a lot of the members of the Justice League are literal gods, so they have a little bit more power, a little bit more strength than the Avengers do. And a lot of the cases, the Justice League know that, you know, they've been defeated and they retreat. I mean, there's been times where Superman has fought Darkseid and he's like, you know, this isn't worth it. I gotta go wash my cape. I think Lois is... Yeah, Lois is calling me. I go. Now, Thanos would obviously ultimately use the Gauntlet and the Stones to fight him because, let's face it, that is his bread and butter. But there's one thing I didn't mention. There's one power that I didn't mention. There's one thing that Darkseid has that would kind of overcome all the things that the Stones can do. He has this thing called the anti-life equation. Essentially what that does, it overtakes the mind of any sentient beings. Now, Thanos is a Titan, and therefore, I think his bloodline is kind of with that. So even if Thanos took his gauntlet, it was like, you know, I'm gonna change reality. All Darkseid has to do is just, you know, think about, I don't know why I snapped, but that's pretty good. The battle would be very epic between both of these 2 giant titans, these 2 gods, but with the sheer strength and just having that ability to control someone via your mind, I mean, I think ultimately it would be one of those things where they would almost kill each other, but Darkseid will come out on top essentially and just ruin him. But you never know, Thanos may be back at some form of the timeline, and what if the DC and Marvel had a crossover on the big screen? I mean, they've had it in the comics, so it's not a thing that's out of the realm of impossibility. And I really can't wait to see Darkseid in the DCU. I really hope they don't kill him off in Justice League. I hope they continue him down the line just to be the puppet master, as Thanos did, to kind of reel in certain storylines and just kind of revisit something that we're familiar with and can formulate one cohesive story that DC desperately needs. So guys, Darkseid comes out on top. Let me know what you think about this episode. Let me know in the comments below who you think would win in this fight and why. And guys, remember, with great power comes crazy abilities, man. Anti-life equation. I mean,